Q&A for your physical awareness part of the training. And this is going to cover your questions about your physical body awareness and your energy body awareness. And in general, you guys did really great with this particular section. So I loved reading all of your comments about how you were experiencing it and how you were raising your awareness in both the energy body and the physical body. And of course, you had a lot of good questions too. So I want to get those all answered today. So our first questions are about when are we present in our body? Ernie said that being present in his body, the meter was balancing between 45 and 60%. And then when he thought about a joke, the meter went up to 100%. Judy had a similar comment. She said the gauge percentage was low for things she doesn't like, around 20%. And amusement, great food, and nature notched it up to about 90 to 100%. So this is really interesting because most of us had that same experience there where negative things or things we don't like kind of made us less present in the body, and positive things made us more present in the body. Although there was another big trend too, which was kind of interesting, that some people were very present in their body when they felt threatened or felt like they needed to be on guard. So it looked like fear or that kind of alertness was something that also brought people in their body. Now, a couple of people were asking that, were they getting it right? So like Julie said, it seems that for a lot of people, we tend to be less in our bodies during unpleasant experiences, but is that a bad thing, or is it a way of escaping what we don't want to enjoy? And I would say that it's actually totally okay. Like we do tend to naturally go out of our bodies for things that we're not wanting to enjoy. Now, I would say that if you focus on being present in your body, you probably enjoy those things more than you would otherwise being out of body. So yes, it is kind of an escape, but it's okay to escape, or it's okay to work on being more present. Either one's just fine. And then Sudha was asking, one thing she couldn't understand when she was thinking about being in a crowd is that her percentage was 50%, but in nature she felt spacey. So she was saying that she actually had the opposite reaction, where in nature she was less present and she was more present in the crowd. She's wondering if she had her numbers mixed up. And a couple people, like I said, mentioned this, that maybe I got this wrong or I'm not feeling it right. Now, remember, the goal of this exercise and all the exercises in this program are to become more aware of what's true for you. It doesn't matter what's true for me or what's true for anybody else in the program. You're learning to be aware of what's true for you. So whatever answer you get, that's always the right answer, because that's your awareness. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next question you might have is, why is my awareness this way? Or why am I responding differently than most people? Now, that'll lead to some deeper insights. Now, of course, we had the opposite questions too about why are we not present in our body? And Judy said, why do I want to be in my body? My body's in chronic pain. Why do I want to be in it? It's excruciating. I get through my day living in my head. How can I do this? Do you have any suggestions? And yeah, that's a great point. If it's not comfortable being in your body, if your body has pain, physical pain especially, it's going to be hard for you to be more present. So I guess I would say for that, what you want to do is have a good relationship with your body, even if you don't feel like you can be in it. So you might imagine that you're a little bit out of your body, but you're communicating with your body, or you're loving your body, or you're sending it energy. Or that you're coming in for a time and just saying, I'm going to be really present in my body and let my body know that I'm here and that I really love it and I care for it. I'm taking care of it, that I'm not angry at my body for being in pain. If you do that, if you spend a little time being in the body that way, you'll notice that even if the pain doesn't go away, that you'll have a different relationship with it and it'll feel better. So try that. That should help. Another question in this vein, Isabel said, if being in our body feels so good and comforting, why do we keep leaving our bodies? And since we're leaving our body when we go to sleep, when I wake up in the morning, I often feel stressed without any particular reason. Does it have to do with being in my body or not in my body during the night? Okay, so that's actually two questions. So first one is, if we're not comfortable, we tend to leave our bodies. I kind of addressed that already. So also, some people, if they're scared, leave their body. Some people, if they're scared, get more present in their body. It's really fun. There's a funny example with Hisami. When we had the big earthquakes here in Japan during the Fukushima meltdown and all that stuff, when the earthquakes were happening, it's pretty scary. My natural reaction when things happen like that is I get really present in my body. And I tend to be super focused. I'm right there. And we were laughing because I eat. So when that happened, I just started eating like crazy so I could be more present in my body. Now, Hisami had the opposite reaction, especially as the earthquakes were going. She didn't want to be present. She didn't want to feel it. She was actually jumping up and down in the house because she said when she jumped up, she couldn't feel the earthquakes. So it's kind of funny because I'm getting more present in my body. She's getting less present in our body. Nothing's wrong with either one, right? We all respond differently. So second question about, not waking up or feeling funny when you wake up, that probably has more to do with not getting completely back into your body and perhaps not having great boundaries with your dream space and your waking space. So that's something you can play with there. Now, we had a couple questions about other applications of the Master Cell Healing Meditation. Sarah said, I was wondering if we can use healing the body meditation to clear some financial issues and social situations as well. On my cell's timeline, I saw myself at age 70 tired with no money and all alone, and that really scared me. So typically I use this Master Cell Healing Meditation to work on things that are body-based. So we're working with the body and what's happening in the physical programs in the body. So I tend to use it just for that, adjusting the clock on the body, looking for any disease in the body, adjusting any settings that I want that are physical body related. Now remember, you can go back and use the timeline meditations. You could adapt that a little bit, add in some of this healing and clearing into the timeline meditation, and use that for financial issues. So it doesn't have to be necessarily related to your body. You can go in and work on it that way. Now again, with the Master Cell, what we're doing is we're actually working on the place that your body replicates cells from. So it's not just a visualization. There's a specific place that you're editing that has to do with how your body replicates. If you're working with your timeline, that's a little more abstract. So you can just use whatever visualization works for you. You don't have to use that Master Cell specifically. Now there's a similar question from Mieki, who said, I want to ask you about the Master Cell principle. I believe I can change my physical body, but it seems like I also have master cells for my emotional body, for my mind, for my spiritual body, and they all have some default programs that are disturbing my physical levels of energy. Is that possible? Yeah, I haven't actually worked with that myself. I just use, again, Master Cell meditation style just for physical things. But if you want to use it to work on your emotional body or your spiritual body or your mental body, that's fine too. Of course, we're going to go into those. I'll give you specific techniques for those in the next few weeks where we do work on your emotional and mental and spiritual bodies. So you might just wait and use the techniques there too. Duigu has a question about, can we sit cross-legged in meditation? And they're saying that a different teacher, Deborah King, said that when you meditate and close your eyes, when you're working with energy, open your eyes. I would say that, your posture is dependent on you. So I tend to teach the meditations as if you're sitting in a chair with your legs uncrossed and your feet on the floor. And I teach them that way because that's how people typically are in my seminars, right? We're usually sitting in chairs with our feet on the floor and our legs uncrossed. And that seems to be a pretty good posture. So that's what I teach them as. But I know that some of you are laying down or you're hanging out on the couch. Maybe you're sitting in lotus position with your legs crossed. Those are all okay. There's no wrong posture for you. Now, I would say if you're falling asleep a lot in the meditation, I would recommend sitting up. It's one of the benefits of sitting in a chair is you tend to have a pretty upright posture. And if you start to lean over and fall asleep, you notice and you sit up more. As far as eyes closed and eyes open, ideally you want to work until you can do all the meditations with your eyes open or closed. So closing your eyes oftentimes brings a more kind of deep inner awareness. But when your eyes are open and you're in your regular life, I think you want to be able to use that deep inner awareness there too. So when you're talking to somebody, you want to be able to be tuning in and using your inner awareness. So I would recommend merging them together, having your great awareness whether your eyes are open or your eyes are closed. Romy says, sometimes when I have some kind of dilemma or decision to make, my physical body is saying one thing, my emotional body is saying something else, my mental body is something else. Sometimes I don't even know which part of my awareness is speaking. And I hear that you should go from your heart, but I find it difficult to recognize, heart from mind, and it's confusing. Yeah, so what I would say is that there are definitely times when you're getting multiple answers. And what's interesting about that is that all those answers can be right. So sometimes your physical body really wants or needs something different from what your emotional body wants or needs, or different from what your mental body thinks you need or wants. Now, I would say that first thing I do when I'm tuning into answers is I try to let go of what my mind thinks the answer should be. And that's why in some of these exercises, I'll have you first look at what do you think the answer should be, or what do you want the answer to be? And then once you get that out of the way and just kind of admit that you have a bias, you can kind of laugh about that, get a little amused, move that out of the way, and ask again and get a little bit more honest answer. Now, you might actually, if you're getting conflicting answers, just ask that, is this what my emotional body needs, or my mental body needs, or my physical body needs, or my spiritual body needs? And then just basically decide, which one is more important to you right now. Is it your spirit that you really want to feed in this moment, or is it your emotions that you want to feed? And choose the one that's right for this moment, because all the answers are okay, and you can change and use a different answer later on. Olivier had a question. After building the energy ball between my hands, I could not understand how to move this ball. It felt like it exists only between my hands. When I move one hand, the energy disappears. Yeah, so first I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name and everybody else's names, because, I probably am. But, just laugh about it. Now, with the energy ball, so when you're creating that energy ball between your hands, sometimes you will notice that if you move one hand, it sort of goes away, because it's positioned right there between your hands. What I'm doing there is I'm actually trying to blur two awarenesses without really telling you, right? So you can build an energy ball using your hand chakras, and it'll build up between the hand chakras, and you'll feel it between your hands. That's the easiest way to feel energy. That's why I use that. Now, when you're moving the ball, you can actually move your hands and kind of push the ball around using your hands. That works really well for most people. However, there is a second way to move energy, which is just with your intention. So you can take that energy ball and just sort of push it with your mind or with your intention and move it around to different places in the body. Now, I didn't tell you to do that explicitly because I want you to do whichever is easiest for you. But try that. Just try that you're imagining that you're moving it around with your intention, or sort of pushing it with your energy hands rather than your physical hands, and see what happens there. Nisha says, is it possible for me to make an energy ball without even bringing my hands together? Yes, definitely. You can just sit there and imagine that there's an energy ball being created. And you will be able to create that with your mind. You don't have to use your physical body. We just do that because it's a very easy way to feel energy. And we're working on this is the physical part of your awareness that we're working on right now. So I want to integrate the physical body there. But yeah, definitely you can do it without moving your hands at all. Joan says, I'm not sure what to do with my hands while I'm moving the energy ball to different parts of my body. Yeah, so similar question. Again, you're going to just take that and either push the energy around with your hands. I like to do that. Or you can kind of let your hands relax, just put them on your lap, and imagine that you're moving the energy around with your mind. I would suggest trying both and just play with them and use the one that's easiest for you. Jatine says, how can I use an energy ball technique in love relationships? Okay, that's kind of interesting. So what I would suggest is that if you want to play with somebody in a relationship with energy, just imagine you're both sitting there and creating an energy ball with each other. You're creating your own energy balls, and then put your hands together and start to run energy between your hands. You can either go kind of your right to their left and their left to your right. You can do somebody's hands to the right and left and somebody's hands on the top and bottom. You can put your hands near each other's chakras and run energy that way. It's actually very fun to play with a partner and use the energy ball that way. Nadezha says, can you heal somebody else without them giving consent or being aware? Now, I would say that you don't really want to do that, because just like you want to have seniority in your body and know that your energy and your intentions have priority in your body, you want to give that same respect to everybody else. You want to give them that seniority to have their space as well. And that includes things that you might think are harmful or that you would like to take away from them. So the question isn't really whether you can do it, but kind of like, is it something that you should do, or is it something that you should avoid doing? Because You probably can, if you really try to push somebody's energy, you probably can affect them, but I wouldn't do that. One, because again, you're not really respecting their seniority, but also you may be generating a little karma for yourself by doing that. You might actually be interfering with something that they have set up. So for me personally, I always get consent or ask, is it okay, or would you like a healing? Or better yet, just don't do any work unless they ask you. Now, the exception that I do have is if I'm working with somebody who is unconscious. So, for example, if I'm driving down the highway and I see a car accident, I always say hello to their spirit guides and ask their spirit guides to be present and to help them, and for anybody else that would like to be present and help. So in that case, I'm actually not doing any healing work myself anyway. What I'm doing is just inviting healers that need an invitation to come in to go and work with that person. That's another way to do it. Shane asks, what do you do when the pain in your body doesn't go away after the energy ball? Just keep doing it? So there are many different ways to heal your body. This energy ball is just one way that we're working with in the training here. But there are many ways to work with energy to heal your body. You can imagine that you're connecting a grounding cord to that part of the body and letting the energy drain away down into the earth. That's a great way to do healing. You can always just continue to fill up with energy in whatever place that you're feeling pain. That's a great way to move energy or pain out too, because again, your energy has priority in your body. So whatever you fill in with, when it's your energy, will push out anything that's not yours automatically. So that's another way to do it. Penny asks, what happens to the released stuck energy? I've heard quite a few people say that it needs to be transmuted somehow, otherwise that negative energy is there and can be picked up by other beings. So I see it a little bit differently. I don't see energy as objects. So, if it was an object and you had like a dirty towel and you took it out of your space and put it somewhere else, then, somebody else might get that dirty towel. But energy isn't actually an object. Energy is just energy. So, it doesn't really maintain a location or form necessarily. Now, I do teach in the duality program how to use different tools for giving a location, like a rose or a grounding cord, giving a location for something or some energy to move into. That does work really well because you're taking it from a physical location to another physical location. But in general, you don't really have to worry about what happens to the stuck energy. What you're doing is just releasing it from your space. The Native Americans have a really nice tradition where they say, please, Great Spirit, take this energy and put it somewhere where it won't harm anybody anymore. So that's kind of a nice intention. You can send energy off to the edge of the universe. You can send it to many different places. But in general, you don't have to worry about it kind of infecting somebody after you release it. The thing you're doing is you're actually just changing the vibration of your body, right? You're not actually taking something and putting it somewhere else. We just use that mental model in our minds because we're so used to working with physical objects that it seems like everything's physical, but energy is not an object. Now, there's a similar question. Meiki says, I have a question about what to do with stuck energy. I can vaguely see the stuck energy, but when I want to clear it out of my body, this belief or judgment comes up that I'm not allowed to do so because it's dangerous to me, my family, and the environment around me. So is it better to keep the stuck energy, even if it's not healthy for me, to kind of protect the people around me? And I'm paraphrasing there. Now, again, no, I wouldn't do that. If there's an energy that's hurting you or feels like it's not good for you, definitely just clean it out of your body. Don't worry that it's going to hurt anybody else or infect anybody else. Energy doesn't really work like that. Bo says, when do health conditions classify as programming that can be taken out? For example, lipoma, inflammation, etc. Similar question from Nadezha about how about type 1 diabetes, autoimmune? Body kills the beta cells that produce insulin permanently. Can it be healed? So with these, I would say it's always worth working on the energy of things. Even if it's something that you've been told is impossible to heal, you still are going to get some benefit out of working on the energy, because remember, there's two things happening. Your physical body is showing you symptoms of some energy that's not in alignment, right? Things always happen in the energy body before they happen in your physical body. So if you adjust that energy in your energy body, your body has the opportunity to heal and to get better more quickly. Now, of course, you also want to consider that if you're having physical symptoms, you probably want to go see, somebody that works with physical medicine, go see a doctor or somebody and, get it taken care of that way. But I would work the energy too. I always work the energy first and then the physical second. And that's how things tend to happen. The energy comes in first and then manifests in the physical body. Now, if you have an emergency, address that first. Don't break your arm and then, just do energy work. Go to the doctor, right? And as far as specific things, I would say that, gosh, it's not really my specialty. I'm not a doctor, not really versed in specific medical conditions. But I would say that, again, everything can be addressed at some level energetically. And you might consider that when you're addressing that underlying thing in the energy body, that you may be avoiding some other physical symptoms that might be lurking after these physical symptoms, right? So it's always worth doing that. And I always just keep with it. So I've got some physical things in my body from time to time that, I'll work on the energy, they'll get better, or maybe they'll come back. And I'll just keep hitting it from every angle I can think of, just over and over and over, trying different energy things. I don't do it obsessively. I try not to stress about it. I just work on it when I think about it and kind of have fun and experiment and see what I can do. And that seems to be when I get the best results. If I'm really attached to it, like I have to fix it or it's terrible, the results tend to be a little bit slower. Miyaki says, what can I do to heal my energy body when it doesn't look very healthy? And Niraj has a similar question about what if you feel your energy body is much bigger than your physical body? Is there some way to sync them both while not restricting the energy body? Okay, so if the energy body is feeling kind of, not the way you like it, not very healthy, what I would suggest is you just heal it the same way you would your physical body. So you're just going to, send energy into it. You're going to make little adjustments, but keep in mind that the energy body can move really quickly. You can tell it to just be a different way. You can just basically adjust the energy and have it change. It's just how much certainty do you have working with your mind and your ability to create through imagery or your imagination, which is how everything actually gets created in the physical world. And the more certainty and experience you have, the more quickly you'll be able to adjust your energy body. So basically just decide you want to do it and then make whatever adjustments that you want. There's no specific technique. And then as far as syncing your body, like if your energy body is much bigger than your physical body, I would say that, yeah, you can kind of imagine that there are connection points in the joints in the body. So, the hips, the elbows, the wrists, shoulders, knees, feet, and so on. And that in these joints, that's where your physical body and your energy body are going to connect, and they're going to kind of anchor in. So what I would do is, even if the energy body is much bigger, I would anchor it into those points. So I just kind of imagine I'm sort of shrinking it without shrinking it. I'm just sort of changing the scale, rather, so that they kind of fit in with each other. But as long as they're connected in those points, it doesn't matter if the energy body is much bigger. It should still work out. So just play with that. Hopefully that'll take you in the right direction. Judy says, what are some of the things that manifest in one's life when their energy and physical bodies are not in sync? Do you have any tips on how I can draw support from my energy body every day? So what I would say is that what we're working on just in the last 10 days, where you're working with getting more aware of your physical body and getting more aware of your energy body, just doing that and having that greater awareness is going to allow you to get more support from your energy body every day. Because your energy body is not something separate from you. You don't have to ask it for more support. You just want to be more aware of it and let that awareness feed you and let it give you information on what's happening in the body, what's happening around you, and so on. And what would happen if they're out of sync? Well, if they're out of sync, people tend to be, it just seems like things are a little bit kind of jerky. Like if you're trying to, I don't mean jerk like being a jerk. I mean jerky like, not fluid. So if you're trying to do something and it feels like you're kind of stuck and then you move forward, then you're stuck and then you move forward, you might consider looking at if the energy body and physical bodies are not in sync. But honestly, like I said, what we've done already, they should be in sync now. So this isn't something you need to really check all that often or work on too much. Just going through the activation that we're doing now should give you the awareness, and it should be fine from here on out. Here's a similar question from Raquel, who says, my energy body is a leaner, taller version of myself. And the funny part is that if we had no mirrors on the planet, this is how I would describe myself: tall and swan-like figure. My energy body is also way faster than my physical body, although I have no idea how to bring that full speed into my physical body all the time. I often taste at speed during deadlines and stressful moments. And it's in these moments that I really feel like I'm my true self. So is there a way to do that without stress? Okay, I get it. So you're asking, like, do you have to be in a stressful situation before you can kind of access that speed that's inherent in your energy body? Now, keep in mind that your energy body does move faster than your physical body, simply because the physical body is probably the slowest version of you, right? The physical matter is very dense and moves pretty slowly compared to the spirit and energy and so on. Although, physical matter is energy too, but it's a very low vibration, very stable energy form. So what I would say, if you want to use that, is if you raise your vibration of your physical body, so if you just kind of imagine that you're coming up in vibration, you might listen to that, hear that as like a sound coming up, or imagine you're spinning faster. If you work with the Merkaba, you could spin your Merkaba faster. There's many ways to raise the frequency of the body. You can just imagine you're turning your crown chakra up to a higher vibration. That's a way to bring your vibration up. And you'll notice that as you bring your vibration up, that, yeah, you do tend to move faster. You feel like you're able to start accessing that pure energy speed rather than being kind of stuck at a regular physical speed. So play with that. Great question. Iris says, hi Jeffrey, I did not get it. How can I notice in advance if my physical body gets tired and if I'm overworking myself? Can you explain? Sure. So what I'm mentioning is that if you're tuned in and listening to your energy body, and I don't mean that you have to actually tune in, sit down, close your eyes and tune in and talk to your energy body. That's great. But what I'm talking about is, as we're building your awareness so that you're just naturally all the time aware of your energy body, you'll start to notice things before they happen in the physical. So you'll start to notice that, oh, I'm going to be hungry pretty soon, but I'm not hungry yet. Oh, I'm going to be tired later if I don't stop working now, even though I'm not tired now. You'll also notice that it works for people around you. My wife is very tuned in, and so she's always asking me stuff about the future. Did something upset you? And I'm like, not yet. But if she said it, probably it's going to happen pretty soon. So I'll just be kind of watching for it then so I can be amused instead of upset. And that's kind of how awareness works. As you get more aware of your energy body, then you'll notice what's happening in your physical body a little bit before it happens. That's about the best I can describe it. I would say don't try too hard. It doesn't take effort. Just keep working on bringing your awareness up, and you'll notice this will kind of be happening magically and automatically by the end of our 60 days together. Mending says, I really struggle with remembering or being able to do the exercises with the same level of effectiveness during my day when I need them the most. In other words, I feel a dependency on the guided audios, and they're lovely, but I'd like to have some autonomy. She's using the analogy of, a bicycle, or the guided audios like training wheels, and will you be able to take off the training wheels? Is it just a matter of practice? Definitely, yeah. The guided meditations are doing a couple things. One, they're giving you lots of ideas of how to use your awareness in ways that you probably hadn't considered before. So that's training. That's also activation. And I'm putting a lot of energy into the meditations as well, so that you're getting that activation and a lot more learning than just what's happening with the words. Now, also what's happening in the meditation is that your awareness is coming up in these different areas. That's the activation part, right? So as your awareness comes up, you tend to be better at it than when we're unaware. Now, of course, you are going to have that effect, like you mentioned, that the group energy is supporting you right now. I'm supporting you right now as you go through the meditations. When you try to do it on your own, it might feel like, oh, it's a little bit harder. Don't worry about that. Just keep practicing. Maybe go back and listen to the meditation, and you'll notice that, oh, it gets better and better. Now, again, we're just 20 days in, so we've got the other 40 days to go. So by the end of the 60 days, you'll notice that, oh, those things that were more challenging back on day 15 are actually easier now, even if we didn't work on them, because you're getting better at awareness in general as the program goes on. I would also say that that integration day, 10, 20, 30, and so on, is a perfect time for you to kind of take the training wheels off and experience it on your own. That's why I put that integration meditation in there, that do-it-yourself one, where I just kind of guide you in, and get you set. Then you have 8 minutes on your own, and then I kind of say hello and bring you back out of trance. Now that little guidance in and out is, again, just to make you a little more comfortable. It's just another step from a full guided meditation. But of course, the next step would be to just do it yourself. Sit down, get your space, and just tune in and use any of the tools that we have and just kind of let it flow as you need it. So I hope that helps. It'll definitely get better with practice, and you'll notice, by the end of the 60 days, you'll be feeling much better. Arcana says, just wanted to know if we are imagining everything that you're saying, will it still work? Sometimes I'm not sure if I'm forcing myself to imagine or if it's really that I'm feeling. Yeah, definitely when we're beginning to work with our awareness and our intuition and energy and so on, it's so subtle compared to what we're used to in the physical world that oftentimes it is difficult to tell. Am I making it up? Am I feeling it because I kind of forced myself to feel it? Or is it something that was happening naturally? And in the beginning, what I would say is don't worry about it, because the more that you practice, the more clear that you'll get. Right now, what you want to say is, I'm aware that I'm still in that space where I'm probably making it up a little bit, and I'm doing it and it's real, but my awareness hasn't gone up to the level where I have that clarity of, is it real? What percentage is real? What percentage is my mind filling in the blanks? And just have that awareness that, okay, that's where I'm at right now, and let that be okay. And know that with practice, it will get much, much better. Because if you focus on having to know if you got it, from your mind, or if you got it from your awareness, or where it came from, you're going to get kind of stuck. And the only way to get unstuck is to get more mileage with using your awareness in different ways. And so again, just keep going in the program, and that'll bring you right out of that naturally. So that wraps up our Q&A for the physical awareness part of the program. And next we're moving into the mental awareness part. We'll work with the inner mind and with the outer mind and building your awareness in both of these. And I know you're going to love this section because this mental part is so important. And in fact, a lot of the questions I just talked about, we will answer in the mental awareness in more detail. So it's perfect timing. And you're going to really notice that this helps you get an idea of what's happening with your mind and how it's influencing you, and get it a little bit more under your control. So you've got a gentle way of guiding your mind rather than it kind of pushing you around at times. And that's just the inner awareness. And the outer mind awareness, we're going to be working with your listening skills and kind of how to extend that awareness of your mind out away from your body and your thoughts and sort of listen to what's around you. So that's really fun too. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for listening to the Q&A. Have a beautiful day. Bye.